Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. For today, let's discuss the Cortex 2 facility and some changes that are underway. Now, I've had several viewers question whether or not this is actually a data center. They point to the fact that there's no cooling or chiller system right now. And despite various permits, the confirmation from Tesla, and the name that has been filed with the city of Austin, it seems like there is still a lot of questions. Well, there are some new permits and some new updated information. So let's get into it. But first, let's do a quick review. Now, earlier this year, the construction began. It was here on the north end in what used to be the Martin Marietta batch plant. Based on the filed site plans at that time, this is what was planned and how this would be configured. I've given you this overlay at the time showing you what the work looked like as they were beginning the clearing and generally what the shape of the facility would be. Now, based on those permits, there were going to be 3 medium-sized structures, including 2 large 5 million gallon water tanks, and they were going to be configured pretty much like you see here on the screen. Now, for reference, this is what the current site looks like. These are the structures that were there prior to the construction beginning, and I've added in now the new construction with the Megapack 2 and the electrical switchyard expansion. And of course, the Cortex 2, also known as the Central Support Facility construction, shown in purple. If I compare that to the original site plan, you can tell directly that this is significantly changed as we had discussed. Now, following that review, let's take a look at some recent permits that give us some more detail and things to be looking for around the site. Now, this is a significant permit. It's still under review right now, but it is listed as Cortex 2, the chiller plant. And this is one of those areas or items that people have been asking a lot about. If this is going to be a data center, where is that cooling system going to be? In addition to that, they have the fire sprinkler system permit also in review for the chiller plant, as you can tell, and the source here is at the bottom of each of the individual images. Now, where is this going to be located? It's hard to say for sure, but on the west side of the facility, we are seeing a lot of these concrete pipes placed into the ground, and this usually indicates an area where further construction is going to take place. And what is that going to look like? I don't really know. We have the Cortex 1 cooling plant on the southeast side of the main factory at the bottom of the screen, and on the top right is the chiller plant for the cathode plant. Not really sure which of these two designs is going to be employed, but it'll be something for us to look forward to. In addition to that, on the northeast side of the Cortex 2, we see these frames that have been recently delivered. I don't know if these are fan unit bases or what they may be. If you happen to know, let me know in the comments section. Now, there is another permit that's recently filed. This is for the Cortex 2 underground mains, and we've been seeing that work going on the inside for the slab and on the exterior of the building. On the west side, as we mentioned before, they have a lot of these concrete pipes being installed all along this area. Also, if you note on the right, that perimeter grade beam is substantially higher on this side than it is on the east side. Here's a close-up view of that. There are openings in that perimeter grade beam potentially for pipes. They're also preparing it with waterproof membrane, and that means that they're going to be filling the grade up. Inside that area on 1 column width, we have this kind of hallway, also with a retaining wall, and it looks like they are preparing to raise the grade there as well. On the north end looking south, you can tell what that hallway looks like. There are some pipes already installed and additional work being done. Another interesting recent permit is this one, which is the pre-action and wet fire fire extinguisher system for the Cortex 2. Data here on the left, I won't go through all of it. You can freeze the frame, but basically this is a system that is hybrid between both a dry and wet system. It's usually used in data centers where water damage could be costly, and it looks like this is part of that data center that they're building into Cortex 2. Now, there's an additional permit for the Hall Infrastructure Novec Fire Extinguishing System, and I've got a data card here with some information if you want to pause the video, but a couple of highlights is this is a 3M system, and it is a replacement for older systems like Halon, and it's most commonly used in data centers, server rooms, and IT telecom facilities, and this is to safeguard high-value electrical and structural components during construction or during operation. And finally, on my last video, we saw these equipment items being delivered at the south end of Cortex 2. These are Schneider Electric Square D cabinetry. They are used to power up AI data centers. As you can tell, this company is from Andover, Massachusetts, and is perfectly placed to provide equipment for Cortex 2. So as you can tell, a lot of great progress, some interesting permits, and giving us some insight on what to expect of Cortex 2. Of course, for the data center, it needs that chilling system, and we see permits for that and some of the other supporting infrastructure. I hope that you found this review helpful and insightful and kind of gives us a better idea of what's going on here at Giga-Texas. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning here at Giga-Texas. We're starting off on the west side, and there is a lot of activity today and also preparations for a big event this weekend. But we're going to start here at this caisson. You can tell that some of these liners have been moved from the right-hand side of the screen over towards the opening. And there's a part of it being lowered into the caisson right now. These are being pressed into that concrete blocks, or the concrete tunnel segments that have been pushed into the bore. And you can see that they are getting ready to push in another one of these liners. This is going all the way underneath the Colorado River and is connecting to yet another caisson on the other side of that river. So anyway, a lot of work continuing with that, and it's part of the water intercept system that is helping with drainage and other water issues around this part of the site. Now we're going to continue over towards this material staging yard. What's very obvious is the number of wooden crates and other deliveries that have been made over the last several days. And this is all production equipment, and it is being temporarily stored here until it's ready to be moved into the factory. And as I bring the drone down lower, this gives you a great kind of low down view of all of these items, plus comparing to the size of the trucks, just how large these really are. And as I kind of pan the drone around, the amount of these wooden crates is very apparent. It's just amazing how much equipment is being delivered. Now, next to this white tent on the right-hand side, we see more of those transformers. These haven't changed too much. There are some equipment items inside the tent. It's hard to tell for sure what that is. Of course, more of the crates, more of the items with the silver wrapping on both sides of the screen. And as we continue to maneuver farther to the southwest, we can tell that this green wrap has been moved away with some of these items. There's some red kind of powder-coated platform-like items next to some of the amino robotic assemblers and some other building materials here on the left, including what looks to be some trusses. These green wrapped items are continuing to stay here for a while. They're getting a lot of dust on them, so they haven't moved in some time. Not sure exactly what they are. I am going to try to zoom in here and maybe see what some of the labels say. And, it's very difficult to tell for sure, even from this vantage point. But if this information or these views gives you some idea, please let me know in the comment section. I would appreciate that. So I zoom back out, we can see more of the steel that is being stored in the upper left of the screen. More deliveries going on today. And of course, not only more of the wooden crates here on the south east side of the tent, but also those transformers. So I'm going to bring the drone up higher to clear the power lines. We're going to take a look at this material staging yard where there is a lot of activity. Workshops on the left, on the bottom of the screen, we can tell there are many superchargers and various parts for superchargers. And in the middle of the screen are what appears to be 4 V2 supercharger kind of setups, and they are 4 per each of these kind of assembled sections with the cabinet in the middle. And almost all of them are completed now. There's just one remaining that needs to have the covers put on. While I'm here, also a nice look across this smaller staging yard where we see a lot of these cabinetries and other items that have been known to be going into the 4680 cell portion of the factory. So it looks like there's still a lot here waiting for assembly. As we fly along towards the north over this part of the site, we can see what looks to be ductwork on the bottom of the screen, passing by 2 or 3 stands and more of the transformers and more of the cables in these large spools waiting for assembly at some point in the future. Now I'm going to bring the drone up and pay a little attention to the outbound lot where we see just a ton of cars. They have been working hard on producing a lot of vehicles. You can tell what it looks like here on this part of the outbound lot, vehicles being loaded up for transport off-site. And it's not just Model Ys, but there's also a decent number of Cybertrucks as well. And I'll give you a closer view of this grouping of the Model Ys. And so far, they all look to be the ones that we've been familiar with being sold. I don't see any of the performance or any other changes that I can tell. But if you see something, let me know in the comment section. Now, in addition to all of the vehicles that are being lined up here for departing off-site, we can tell that the test track is definitely being used right now with vehicles lining up and running through that track. And they are also preparing for a large customer delivery, direct delivery event here at the factory this coming weekend. And we'll see the preparations for that coming up. Now we're going to pass over this tent. We're going to see a couple of Model Ys on this figure 8 of the test track. And then as we pass over the wash rack, that's that green structure with the white roof, we can tell that there are more tents now have been erected around this part of the site. There's at least 4 in view right now. And we see that parking lot is quite full. And also at the bottom of the screen, we see cars lined up for that direct delivery to customers. And for what I'm understanding is customers are getting appointments to come here for several different days, some of them over the weekend and some of them as late as the 29th of September. And all of this is for that final third quarter push. And I think it's great that we are getting this public event here at the factory. You can also tell next to the Tesla sign on the ground is that racetrack. And later on today, I came back and saw that they had 2 of those small kid-sized Cybertrucks lined up there, and that'll be allow the kids to do some racing in that track. Also on the left-hand side of the screen, many more Model Ys arriving autonomously and getting ready for processing. And yes, I've had some viewers ask if they continue to do them autonomously. Yes, that is the standard operating procedure, and that it will continue to do that for now on. So let's get ready to cross over the highway and resume on the other side. I noticed some activity here where the cell 4680 cans are being recycled in those blue bins, and a lot of other equipment being unpacked on the left-hand side of the screen. So very busy here today. This entrance for the employees looks like there's some other deliveries going on and employees showing up for work. And on the platform, some more items have been lifted up onto that platform. There's other trucks on the right-hand side of the screen that have more material getting ready to be lifted as well. And it's white and red, which tends to suggest that it's going to be some sort of production equipment. As we continue to fly to the south, at this moment in time, I did not see a Model Y exiting. However, at different times when I was here, I got some still imagery, and they were 2 or 3 coming out at a time. So they are really pumping out the Model Ys right now. Across from the main entrance, we can see the base of the flags. Also, the Cybertruck pulling a empty casting rack, and the Cybertrucks have been moving a lot of those racks to the factory for production and then taking the empty ones back up to the north. On the berm, we can tell that continued excavation work, trench boxes, and installation of some of the large pipes continues. And it's pretty much from this point on to the south next to the caisson where the yellow crane is located. Before we get there, I noticed that there were some deliveries going on here. On the trailer being pulled by a yard truck are some spools of cable. You see some kind of gray items with legs laid out, what looks to be maybe some glass and more spools of cable. So more work going on in the inside of this south extension. This is what that south part of the building looks like across the cyber pond. You can see River Road with a lot of the excavation work on the south side. We'll look at that here momentarily. But first, I wanted to show you the changes going on at this caisson. They continue to put these I-beams in kind of a trapezoidal shape, as you can tell. In addition to that, they're breaking up a lot of the concrete and ground next to that caisson. It's a good zoom in showing you what that appears like. And I'm just wondering if those I-beams and the breaking up of the concrete around that caisson are related in some way, where we're going to see a structure or maybe a connection being made into that caisson. So that'll be something that we'll continue to monitor. As I maneuver around here, I'm going to try to get you a view down into the bottom of the caisson. Before, we've seen it filled with water, and it's hard to tell for sure, but I think there is still some water at the very base of that caisson. And from what I understand, the tunneling has already happened, and it is connected to the caisson on the other side of the highway, but obviously more work remains. I'm going to maneuver back over the fork statue here, where we see the lights that have been added around it, just so we can get a view of the trench work, trench boxes, and excavation that is underway here just to the south of the River Road. We can also see pipes heading off to the south where they are pumping out water from that excavation. This is a nice bird's eye view of more of that work along this entire length of the River Road. And you can see those black silt fences around that construction site. So that gives us an idea of the extent of all of that trench work. Of course, another large area of trenching here on the south side of River Road. And just to the north, we can see additional trenching. So it's possible that these will be connected at some point. And here's a closer view of what that looks like. Some very large auger drill bits on the bottom of the screen. And of course, more of the trench boxes here with that excavation underway. Nice low altitude view of the cooling plant on the right and the temporary platform on the left, plus those black stained temporary wall panels that have been added to kind of close off this part of the factory. I'm going to keep the drone at this lower altitude and zoom in on this side because I want to show a few things. One, all of these white and red items, particularly the ones that are on the left-hand side next to the wall, look a lot like a recent patent that was published and approved for Tesla that has to do with some of the parts of the unboxing process. And I will be covering that in a later video, but it's very interesting to see all that. I also wanted to see what was going on in the recycle bins. And if there's anything new right now, it appears to be just scrap Model Y parts. It looks like there's a hood and some other body parts, and then of course more recycling that's going on. These casting scraps are taken away for recycling. There also appears to be a pallet with some castings next to one of those blue bins. As we continue to fly to the north, I'll keep the zoom in so we can see what those trailers look like, the temporary platform, more of the equipment being prepared for assembly inside, some of that white and red production equipment again. And then as we continue up here next to that large temporary platform, of course, the bus stop, and then another platform with an item being lifted off of it. And probably they've already lifted the equipment up, and some other items waiting for their chance to be put up inside. Now, I did also notice on this old testing and calibration lot that it is full today of vehicles. We saw some of this happening on my previous video, but now it's almost the entire lot is filled. This used to be something that we saw about a year or so ago, but I have not seen this at all this year until my last video, and now it's doubled in size. So this could be related to the delivery event, or it could be overflow vehicles to make space in the outbound lot while the delivery event happens, and then those vehicles will be available for next quarter. But it's hard to tell for sure. This is a great view of the material staging yard here with some of the items, and I'm going to come back over to the southeast just because I forgot to look at the new kind of intersection that's being prepared and the work on the River Road extension that you see on the left, some more of the earthwork being done, and that intersection with Robotic Avenue. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude. We're going to fly along this far east side, take a look at what is going on here, and just see if there's anything new. Now on the left-hand side of the screen, it looks like there's a new structure with a roof being added on to the recycling center. That is definitely new, and I'll come back on a future video to take a look at that more in depth. You can see some of the trailers with the contractor offices at the bottom of the screen. The old Martin Marietta and still being used repair facility for their trucks. And then here's a great view of the East Warehouse on Wheels and the main factory and much of the west side that we spent the early part of the video with. While we're here, I wanted to show you that there is a large line of trucks delivering in more items. They will come in here, go through a security checkpoint, and then they will drop off the trailers, at least some of them, into the warehouse on wheels. Others will be directed to wherever they need to go on the site. As we maneuver back towards the complex here of structures, we can see the Cortex 2 in the upper left, the die shop, the cathode building, and of course the crash test facility, which we are approaching right now. I'll bring the drone down a little bit lower altitude, and we'll just fly along here and tell that there's more vehicles that have been crash tested, more of them under the tarps, and more on the north end here next to the Wade pit. As we continue up towards this small staging yard, I can tell you that there are even more of these green transformers than even my previous video. My last one, I think there was 42 or 44 of them, and now there is even more. So they are continuing to accumulate transformers of all different kinds in 3 different sites around Giga-Texas. In the video intro, we spent a lot of time talking about Cortex 2, so I'm going to give you some recent views, at least the views for today, about what is going on. Starting on the north end, these are all of those stands or platforms that I mentioned. I'm not sure exactly where these are going to be used or how they're going to be used, but it makes me think that they may be fan unit bases for maybe those Evapco units, but we will have to see. Now there is a lot of pipe work here on the bottom left and some kind of that white painted iron pipe, and usually that's used inside the building, possibly for that fire extinguisher system that we talked about. Here is some trench work going on, some work with plumbing, and a great view all the way inside. The far end is where you can just tell with the reflection the poured concrete slab, and they are working their way from the south to the north. And I'll give you some views inside here momentarily so you can see the extent of that progress. But here's another material staging yard on the left with materials waiting for use. And then looking inside on the north end through these doors, you can tell that the dirt is still on the ground, so we don't have the slabs at this extent of the building. But as I work my way around that light post, I'll come back in over here and show you that trucks are using this as kind of an access point into the structure. But as far as I can tell through this area, there is some utility work in the ground, some earthwork going on, but no concrete at this stage of the building. So let's continue to work farther to the south and see where that ground slab is so far. And as we pass this garbage chute with some of the materials being into those green bins, we can definitely tell that this section of the ground slab has now been poured. My previous video, this was being prepared, so the pour just happened. So right now, almost maybe 1/3 of the building has ground slab so far. There is no active work on the roof materials today, but this is the extent of the work that they have made to this point, and once they get that one large section in, it'll be about 3/4 of the roof completed. As I pull back away to the south to give you a good overall view of the building, how it is coming together, and I'm also going to bring the drone back down here just to show you some of the electrical work that is underway. See a concrete vault with kind of a safety fence around it, and this kind of transformer box that they are working in right now. Some more conduit on the left and some concrete vault with a man cover. And then as we go over this warehouse, look inside. And this section here is 1 column in width and the full length of the building. And you can tell that they have that small wall on the inside. They put that black material just like they did on the outside here, the perimeter grade beam that is for waterproofing, and then now they're filling the grade back up. And as we fly along this side of the building, we can really see that perimeter grade beam with that black material. Also, the downspouts to drain the roof along the side of the building, and more work that is underway. As we get to this point, those concrete pipes that we talked about in the video introduction, and we can get a good sense of where they are right now and how they, at least for these, terminate into the water detention pond on the left. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, because these are all concrete, it suggests that we may see additional construction on top of this part of the site. There's certainly a lot of room. There is excavation work going on here for more of the concrete pipes, and you can see many of the segments next to that black painted perimeter grade beam. I'm going to bring the drone around back to the north end again. I just wanted to show you the work on the north side of this kind of hallway, the 1 column width and length of the building. You can see that kind of roadway in the left-hand side, that same wall with that black material, and the grade is higher on the right. So for whatever reason, this one part of the building has got a higher grade than the rest of it. I'm going to maneuver over to the north side of the electrical switch yard. It's a great overall view of the work, where they are doing the expansion, and it will mirror what we see in the upper right. We see rebar cages being fashioned, both in the ones for the piers and also some rectangular ones too. So those will be for larger footings. Speaking of which, many of them have been poured here. You can tell on the ground, and we see some trench work that is underway and additional work with excavation for more of the footings. Of course, they are working from the south to the north. I also noticed this crane being set up. This is being done in preparation for those 2 large transformers to arrive, and those will be placed by this crane onto the slabs and the catch basins you see in the right-hand side of the screen. At the top of the screen, you can see some of the other transformers, and that is essentially what they are going to be building onto these platforms. And that crane is definitely needed to do that. So that should be done here very soon. Now, the vault is mostly backfilled in. You can see some of the kind of red colored trenches for the conduit and where the 2 control trailers are located. This connecting vault still has no cables in it, but eventually it will connect the 2 underground vaults together. Work continues on this north control room for Megapack 2 as they finalize all the cabling and get this ready for commissioning. But otherwise, it's looking very close to being completed. Now I'm going to bring the drone up to a little bit higher altitude, kind of maneuver around this east side momentarily, just show you some of the older trailers getting ready to be moved and their operations to this new trailer complex. Still hasn't been completed, but it is definitely in the work. And I know that the employees are looking forward to that because there'll be a lot less dust here with the asphalt than on the other old temporary site. As we cross over the power lines, I wanted to bring the drone down here and just show you that the trench work that was underway here just to the south of Tesla Road looks to be mostly completed in this section, and then it continues off to the left, paralleling the Tesla Road. On the north side, we will see that castings are everywhere. The ones that we see closest to the drone are Cybertrucks. both a mix of rear and front underbodies. And as we continue to maneuver towards the east side of casting, we're going to start seeing Cybercab castings right here at the bottom of the screen and along the left berm. I also noticed that the crews were working on this second furnace loading system. They are now in the process of assembly, and this close-in views gives you a great look at the work that they are doing for that assembly. It looks like they're putting the bearing shells in to allow that platform to be able to move around, and a good look inside where you see a furnace and also some of the large ingots from melted down aluminum. Speaking of which, all of the wheels that we saw being delivered on my previous video have already been melted down inside the furnaces and also the melt plant, and most of those are now gone. We see some other equipment, some of those kind of rectangular bales of material. And here is more Cybercab castings in these rack mounts along this side. We see some rear subframe of the Cybercab on the bottom left. A lot of empty the rack mounts for the castings, and then all the rest of them are Model Y castings. So I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude, a nice overall view of that melt plant and the baghouse filtration plant and all of the castings. And of course, as we continue to pull away, a great view of all of Giga-Texas, the west support facility in the top of the screen where we visited early, the east parking lot, the multi-level parking garage, that parking area with all the new cars, and the east warehouse on wheels. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and have a great week. Take care.